Welcome back, everybody. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and want to talk to you today about strikers. Let's talk about strikers for a hot second today on a Sunday afternoon. Hope everybody had a good weekend, winding down. Had a little bit of rain earlier, so it's nice and humid outside, just the way we all like it, right? Feels like an armpit. It's disgusting. Have I mentioned that I'm not a fan of summer? Anyway, let's talk about strikers because seems like there's a lot of us United fans out there right now who desperately want us to sign a new striker. And I get it, right? We struggled in front of goal last season. What is that, like 44 goals scored or something in the league? Not a good look it was embarrassing. Let's be honest. Let's not have it the other way. It was embarrassing. Problem is, for those of us who are wanting, a world-class tier 1 striker, the list was already really short going into the summer window, right? You got Gyokeres and you got Victor Osimhen. The Victors, probably the top two that were maybe available this summer. And neither of them are available anymore for one reason or another, whether it's wages or someone prefers Champions League football, contract, whatever you want to call it. So those two are pretty much off the table. Florian Plettenberg thinks, and a couple other people, Ben Jacobs too, thinks that maybe Benjamin Sesko, Nicholas Jackson could be options for us as we go into the rest of the summer. Now that we wrapped up Ryan Mbeumo. Happy Mbeumo Day, by the way, this week, everybody. Hugo Ekitike probably going to Liverpool. We'll see. Liam Delap, João Pedro off to Chelsea. Jonathan David's off to Juventus. No one really knows what's happening with Vlahovic. If anything is happening with Ollie Watkins, Jean-Claude Mateta. All of these guys have been linked to us at one point or another. I mean, we've covered a lot of these guys. We've talked about these guys ad nauseum. Quite frankly, a fair few of them are nowhere near as good or as proven goals-wise as some of the strikers that are out there right now that no one's talking about. There are strikers that literally no one's talking about. So who does that leave then if we're going to be looking at strikers? That's what I want to look at today. I've got a handful of forwards, like 10 or 11, I can't remember, I lost count, that I'd probably put maybe, if you're looking at just goals and longevity of the amount of numbers, maybe tier 2, tier 3, depending on how much weight you also put on the league that they're playing in. I know some people don't rate goals in some leagues as high as another. I'm looking at goals. I'm looking at longevity of goals. I'm looking at upward trajectories, looking at age. I'm looking at, are they leading their lines? Have they been leading their lines for a number of years? These are what I'm looking at because these are what we're going to have to demand of them at United right now. They're leading the line for their clubs. They're racking up goals, really making them hidden gems in the market because, again, no one's really talking about them, and that's what we're doing today. So are they at their level where they're at, though, or maybe could they rise to the challenge of a bigger club and a tougher league? Yet to be seen. We don't know. I'm going to let you guys decide as we go along and I go through each of these guys. So make sure you're liking that video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You guys, we are on the road to 3K. I did promise that if we get to 3K subs before the season kickoff, before United kicks the ball this season, if we get to 3K, I will do a giveaway. Brand new 25-26 shirt of your choosing. Whoever wins that, I will buy it from the United store and ship it to you at free of charge. So that's the giveaway, you guys. So do that. Check the memberships as well. Check the UVE store. There's a brand new Brian Mbeumo shirt in there. Check out the Mboom shirt. It's in there. You can see it below the video. If you look below the player, there's a couple shirts popping up there. So all that, let's get stuck in. First and foremost, you guys know I have to go check out the chats and see what's going on. Danny B, big up my SAS, my Irish brother from another mother. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yes, hit that like button on the way in. The Mont28, welcome to the channel. He's got some options here. You want Sesko, Watkins, Vlahovic, probably most realistic. We'll see. The Sesko stuff's not going away, but I might convince you guys otherwise these days. So keep watching, see if any of these other guys we're going to talk about today. We've talked about a couple of them a few times. There's some we have never talked about, some that I've had on my list for a while that I'm ready to finally share with the rest of the world. Matt Hatter, big up. Good to see you again. Lucky Singh says Ineos Glazers have come out and said they're going for Premier League strikers. Have they come out and said that, or have the media come out and said that? You got to make sure you know where you're getting your information from. But big up, Lucky. Good to see you again. All right, let's get stuck in, you guys. Once again, make sure you're hitting the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's start off with one we've already kind of scouted a little bit and one we've talked about a lot. Danny and I talk about him all the time. Tolu Arokodere plays for Genk, 24 years old. The guy is a physical specimen. Like, he's just built like a brick shit house. He's aerial duels. He's got speed. He's got power. He's got hold up play. good movement, good link of play. I like what I see. We've scouted him before, but he's still on my list. 6'4", Nigerian, 23 goals, 5 assists in all comps last season. 15 goals, 2 assists the year before, showing a noticeable rise over a 2-year sample size. So again, you guys know I don't like to just go off one season. I like to look at a couple seasons if possible. It's difficult because some players will just get scooped up like that after one good season, and then you're kind of banking on that being an upward trajectory. But I like what I see over the course of a couple seasons from Orokadere. 6 times team of the week last season, 6-time man of the match last season, top scorer in the Belgian league as well. This is where this guy lives. Look at that box. He is literally just put the ball in the box. I'm going to do something with it. That's all there is to it. The box is where he lives. He is a classic poacher in every sense. He was top scorer in the Belgian league last season. And this is why. When you're this good in the air, when you're this powerful, when your movement is this good, and you're excellent in the box, and your team finds you, you're going to score goals. All his goals were from inside the box last season. But he also, not just a straight up poacher, he actually is a little bit more mobile as well, which you're going to see a lot from modern strikers. He can also drop deep. He uses his strength to hold up the ball, lay it off to his teammates. He's got a really good touch to turn and move into space as well, something that Højlund has yet to improve upon. Looking at some of his numbers from this past season, you can see non-penalty goals, assists, shot creating actions. Again, that dropping deep stuff, the assists, all very, very good. Well above average. Aerial duels, well above average. Clearing the ball in his own box. Again, it helps when you're good in the air. Top 9%. Touches in the attacking and penalty area, top 1%. Imagine what this guy could do for us on set pieces where we seem to struggle to score goals. The guy is an absolute beast in the air, man. Danny says, definitely worth a cheap gamble. Yeah. He also doesn't shy away from high press either. He will drop deep to help get involved in the middle, but he'll drop deep to help win the ball back and track back. He's very similar to, I would say, like Olivier Giroud, maybe like a Sorloth, maybe like a Santi Jimenez. Those sort of strikers. Oddly enough, Fulham have been linked. Bayern Munich been linked. Besiktas and United have all been linked as well. The problem is Genk are going to ask for a very big fee for this guy. Probably their record sale. Now, big fee for Genk is not the same as big fee for someone like United. So when I say big fee, take it with a grain of salt, because big fee is probably like just over 20 million would probably get this done. To me, it's definitely worth a gamble. I think he has everything you need to excel in the Premier League. I think that he's got aggression, he's got mentality, he shows initiative, willingness to attack things both in both boxes. As you can see, the clearances and the aerials, but then also touches in the opposition box. You saw his heat map. The guy just lives in the box. And he's not just a simple poacher either. So I think he does a lot in terms of more of a modern defender or attacker as well. And so Danny says about 25 million. Yeah, they're going to want to get their record sale, Genk. So you're going to have to do, I think that they like Onuachu was one of the other ones who went for a big price. But y'all let me know what you think from what I've said about Orokadere. We've already did a little scout report on him in the past, so I didn't want to kind of rehash everything, but that was pretty much the guy that Danny and I go on and on about that we really like. That's probably worth a little bit of a punt in the market. You guys let me know. I'm going to move on to my next one, probably one of my top players on my list today. We've talked about him a couple times as well. Vangelis Pavlidis. You've heard me mention this guy a couple times, and with good reason. Literally one of the best goal scorers in Europe, and no one is talking about him. Probably because he's Greek, not like one from like one of the big heavy hitters in international football. And really, that's your loss if you don't rate him because he's Greek. Not saying you do, just saying you don't. But for the last several years, he's had more than a couple dozen goals. He's got 25 goals, 7 assists in 21-22, 22 goals, 9 assists in 22-23. 33 goals, 5 assists in the 23-24 season, and 30 goals, 12 assists last season at Benfica. The guy literally has like almost 100 goals in the last 4 years, over 100 goal involvements, and no one's talking about him, man. Like, he's just not being talked about at all. He's such a good goal scorer, high press, really good holding up the play, really good playmaking as well. He's actually able to get involved in the play. He's got really good movement too, very classic number 9. You can see he's not just, I'm going to sit in the box. He's able to drop a little deeper. You can see a lot of his touches are just outside the box as well, to almost kind of like a Benzema role or Harry Kane a little. He's able to drop deep, contribute to the build-up in the final third where he can cause problems. really good player. If you look at his percentiles, I mean, it's just green as far as literally everything is above average aside from clearances and aerials won. And so, may not be winning tons and tons of headers, but literally everything else is above average. There's nothing there that's below average. He's like, honestly, Pavlidis is up there for one of my top picks. He's a good age, I think, at 26. Obviously, he's around that Osimhen age, that Gyokeres age. Problem is getting anybody out of Benfica, especially when they're good players, it's not going to be cheap. He's got a €100 million release clause. Benfica are reportedly sticking to that hard. He only joined a year ago. Still, if there's any way at all you could get this done for a similar fee, like to what maybe Gyokeres or whatever is going for, this guy's worth it. Again, look at those numbers I showed you. Like, that's ridiculous how good this guy is. Let me see what y'all are saying here in the chat. Danny says, yeah, I think he'd be too expensive. Yeah, this is Benfica. They're not going to let him go cheap. Box, big up, Box. Good to see you again, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well. Yeah, it looks like Richard Rios is off. Mont think it'd be 40 million. Well, Benfica are holding out to that €100 million. What is 100 million euros in pounds? What is that, like 85 million pounds or something? I have no idea. But not Brett May back again, the troll of all trolls. Big up, Brett. Thank you for giving me the views though, bud. So Evangelos Pavlidis, one of my top picks. Very, very good striker. Again, literally minimum 24 goals in all comps for the last 4 years each time, and no one's talking about him. It really boggles my mind, but he kind of flew on radar when he and Santi Jimenez were kind of going head-to-head for Golden Boot in the Eredivisie a couple years back. And again, it's everyone else's loss. Benfica are really reaping the reward here. So move on to another player that I've mentioned in the past, but another one that I just can't get over because he's very, very good. That's a Mohamed Amora, the Algerian, plays for Wolfsburg. Was it Union St. Gilloise when you guys remember when Liverpool, I think, were in the Conference League? He actually did really well to beat Liverpool, I think. I won one of those matches. 25 years old, very fast, very good playmaker. He's versatile. He can play almost anywhere across the front line. Good goal scorer, good off-the-ball work rate. He's not a striker who tends to lead the line on his own. I don't mean to say that he can't, but it's just the way that Wolfsburg play. He plays on the left side of a front two, but you can see that he gets touches literally all over the place. And I think that in a system where you've got Mbeumo, you've got Cunha, and you've got someone like Amora kind of in that front three, it would kind of be reminiscent of like 08 United, where there is a bit more fluidity, a little less strict adherence to a position in a formation, and more of like, hey, whatever needs to get the job done on an attack, that's what you're going to do. But this is why I like him. He's quick, very good movement. He operates in an area of the pitch where Amorim kind of likes his strikers to run, that those channels, kind of playing off the shoulders, getting into space, getting balls in from those left backs and from those 10s, where he can get on the end of those, carry the ball in the final third as well. And he scores, he creates. He had 21 goals, 7 assists at Union 2 years ago, 10 goals, 9 assists at Wolfsburg last season because he went from being the main guy to being in a front two. And he was 7th for assists in the Bundesliga last year. He's very, very good. If you look at his percentiles, again, shot creating actions, the assists, literally top 2% for assists per 90. The carries, the take-ons, the progressive passes, the tackles, the interceptions, the blocks. The guy is an excellent attacker. And again, you can see he puts in a shift off the ball too to win the ball back. Not the tallest player. So I know a lot of people will say, well, how tall is he? But how many, again, kind of like a Rogaderi, like, yeah, he's good in the air. How many crosses do we actually put in the box in this system? We don't put a ton of crosses in the box. We'll whip balls in on set pieces and stuff, but it's not necessarily what we're about. We'll flash a lot of balls across the box, but not necessarily looking for a target man. This isn't David Moyes 2013-14, where we're putting in more crosses in a single match than these players are doing on the whole season's worth of training. Like, we don't do that. Again, if your manager doesn't rely on that, your height doesn't really matter. Sergio Aguero wasn't the biggest guy. It doesn't really matter. But I've liked this guy for a couple of years. You guys know that I've talked about him many, many times. Let's see. Pavlidis looks the best of these lads. Well, we're not done yet, man. You wait and see, because we've got a lot more to go. But Amora is definitely one of my big picks. Lucky saying, welcome back. Please tell me how to support my bro. It's only preseason. I think you kind of answered your question, man. It's only preseason. I think that's what we just got to keep telling ourselves. It's only preseason. Now there's going to be a lot of social media footy experts out there talking about how they can sack Amorim because of this, or this player is not going to be good because of one preseason match. You notice some other teams literally lost their first preseason friendlies, and no one cares about that. But we literally just draw, and that's the end of the world, man. It's ridiculous. But Mo Amora, you guys know I like me some more Amora. Let's move on to a player that some of you have mentioned. Now, this player, he was on my list. I hold off for a little bit until some of you guys are mentioning months ago when the season was still going on. I like to wait and see how season's shaped out. So I like a bigger sample size. You guys know that. And by the end of the season, we got that. But Promise David pretty much took over for Mo Amora at Union once Amora left. 24 years old, though. He's really good in the box, good poacher, speed, strength, very good movement, positioning, drops deep to press high at the pitch. And he's clinical when it comes to his chances that he gets, and he puts them away. Promise David had 14 goals and 16 appearances for NOM JK before he got to Union. And then he bagged 24 goals, 4 assists in all comps last season for Union. Nearly double his XG too, by the way. This is that upward trend that I'm talking about. And the guy can pretty much do it all too. You get a lot of touches in the box, a lot of touches outside the box as well. He's powerful enough to win all of his physical duels, both in the air, on the ground. Quick enough to run channels and get on the end of counterattacks, strong enough to hold up play, and he's clinical AF in front of goal. He's just clinical. I've seen Leeds, I've seen Lille, Besiktas, Galatasaray. They've all been linked. Again, this is another guy who's going to run you about 15, 20, maybe 25 mil. Looking at his numbers, excellent numbers, really good, well above average in all the things you want your striker to get. Aerials, passes, carries, take-ons, touches in the box, shot creating actions, goals, all of it well above average, still just 24. He's got the world at his feet. I like what he said. I don't know who mentioned him in the past, but he's definitely on my list, and he's been on my list for it. But Promise David, hopefully a promise that we can keep if he joins United. Danny says Promise worth the gamble too. Yeah, I feel like a lot of these guys are worth the gamble, especially. And I feel like I'm a little more open to someone like this now that we've got Cunha, now that we've got Mbeumo, because we're not like those two are alone could probably get us 30 goals easily combined this season, which again, that's more than half of what we had last season. So like you said, strange bunch, man. Well, keep watching. It gets a little stranger, oddly enough, because I got a guy I guarantee most of you will probably never heard of. Say hello to Vladislav Vanat. I know what you're thinking. Who the fuck is Vladislav Vanat? Well, I think everyone's going to know who this kid is soon. He is destroying the Ukrainian league with Dynamo Kiev. He's 23. He's your classic number 9. Like you think of like Patrick Bamford kind of guys. This is your straight up classic number 9. Good movement in the box, good at finding space in the congested areas, really good link-up play, really good work rate, contributes to the press as well. 13 goals, 4 assists in the 22-23 season, 14 goals, 7 assists in the 23-24 season. He had 21 goals, 6 assists last season. He was their top scorer in the Ukrainian league. He had a 35% shot conversion rate, which is pretty much elite level when it comes to shot conversion. Again, classic number 9. Look at the heat map. All sorts of involved in and around the box. Really good areas right inside both those left and right channels. A lot of touches in and around the box. You can see these heat maps that are down in this bottom corner. That's kind of him getting on the end of long balls, getting on the end of switches, turning and facing inward to kind of contribute to the buildup and to contribute to the attack as well. Now, unfortunately, there's no percentile information available for the Ukrainian league, both on SofaScore, both on FootMob, both on FBrep. It's just not a popular enough league. You're not going to get that. I could have gone and done the math and compared it to everybody, but I'm not doing that. So you guys are just going to take my word for it. You can compare him to someone like a Sesko, someone like a Van Persie or Victor Gyokeres as well in terms of player profile. He's been linked to loads of Premier League clubs. We've been linked. Arsenal have been linked. But it is Sunderland, though, who have held talks already. and could look to splurge maybe on this kid in an effort to make sure they avoid relegation next season. They just got promoted, remember. He's got a release clause of around 17 million, which is quite frankly a snip. Now, again, it's up to you guys to decide how easily the Ukrainian league translates to the Premier League. But again, the guy scores buckets of goals, man. Literally 40 goals easily over the last 3 seasons. Very, very good goal scorer. Get a season or 2 of English football under him by the time he's 25. I think he could easily go for 3 times that release clause. You see him go for like 50 mil easily if he continues on this trajectory. But I like this kid a lot. Box says Pavitz, Ramos approving rather than gamble buys. Yeah, and everyone's gonna have their preferences. Like he says, all fans come on these channels been watching way too much Sky Sports. Yeah, I do think people get a lot of their news from not good places. We'll talk a little bit about Sky tomorrow on the news roundup because Sky's talking all that good shit, man. Box says RVP Regen would be Scream Face. Yes, he would be Scream Face. Let me move on to my next one. Some of you guys probably know who this guy is. Arnold Calimuendo. Plays for Reims, 23 years old. Really, really, really good spatial awareness and movement. He just kind of knows what's going on around him at all times. Is able to kind of just, it's like he's a step ahead. Players who, and you see this all over the pitch, it's a good habit to get into, just scanning, every couple seconds, just kind of giving both shoulders a look, just kind of getting a mental picture every couple seconds of what's going on around you, especially if you're open to receiving the ball, if you're showing for the pass, scan, it really helps you stay a step ahead. This guy does this. Really good movement, really good finishing, good link-up play, good at pressing the ball. He's well on his way to earning a move after showing a very steady rise in goal output over the last couple of years. You can see his heat map here. So he went from 7 goals and 3 assists to then 15 goals, 2 assists, and then 18 goals and 3 assists last year. So again, the upward trajectory that you guys know I like to see from these players. He's mobile, intelligent in his movement, good at finding space, especially in the box, good at dropping deep to link up play, willing to press defenders in their own half, very similar to someone like Abuisa at Brentford or like an Alvaro Morata a little bit. It's been confirmed that he's been allowed to talk to interested clubs, but Rons is going to hold out for more than 25 million. Spurs have been linked, and the Spurs link fits. Thomas Frank is there now. He is a Thomas Frank profile of striker, like you said, very similar to Vissa. I've seen Bayer Leverkusen linked, Lazio linked to. Not the top of my list, but he's definitely a striker to keep an eye out for. He's entering a really good year. He's having an upward trajectory. He's doing very, very well. So keep an eye on this little kid, see where he goes. You guys are funny. Lucky Singh says their mental block where United should be. It's always hard, Lucky, to know where to get transfer news. Obviously, we talk about a lot of it, and not all the rumors that we talk about are from what I would consider to be good sources of information. Doesn't mean that I'm the know-it-all or anything. Like I decide who's got. I usually wait to see. I'll watch something for a couple of days, but we'll talk about it. I don't claim to break the news or anything. I'm not going to go off on a 45-minute stream on a rumor and kind of whip everybody up into a frenzy like a lot of people do. It's just not my thing. We'll talk about it. We'll share our thoughts and we'll move on. And then if the rumor keeps building, we'll talk about it some more. So there it is. So moving on. Next one. João Piro. So I know you guys are thinking, we've never bought a striker from Leeds before, have we? If there was a time to consider doing it again, it could be now because Piro has been stellar since kind of taking the step up from Swansea. 14 goals, 3 assists, and then 19 goals, 7 assists last season to help Leeds earn promotion. He was a top scorer in the championship. He's got a good age, 25. He's got really good movement. Scores buckets of goals, good work rate, press resistant. He's good hold-up play. He's just, again, another modern striker. Again, another striker who's got good movement in the box. Again, someone that Højlund could really learn from. Good at finding space in tight areas. Really composed under pressure. Again, something that Højlund could really improve upon. But that composure and that ability to hold up play is what makes him such a good player when it comes to dropping deep and getting involved in the build-up. He's quite aggressive, too, off the ball. He presses. He loves to press defenders, win that ball back. Now, Leeds Leeds reportedly want to build around this guy. Let me show you some of the other stuff here before I go on. So again, touches all over the place, doing a lot with the ball when he gets it. You can look at some of his numbers here. Again, really good progressive numbers, pass completion, really good penalty goals or non-penalty goals, assists as well. Really good numbers. And again, those interceptions down there, well above average for a striker. Again, he doesn't shy away from pressing the ball. Now, Leeds want to build around him. They do want to avoid getting relegated again. I think they're probably tired of being a yo-yo club like some other clubs are, but they paid quite a bit for him. So it's going to take a big offer to convince them to sell Piro and completely revamp their plans if they're trying to build around him. Now, reportedly, they're also trying to bring in another striker to allow Piro to kind of play as a second striker or a false nine kind of a role as well. So we'll see what happens there. Leeds need to do something. Danny likes him too. Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's a really good striker, really good numbers. I think there's a big question if he can handle the step up to a bigger club in the Premier League. But you never know unless you take the gamble. And this is where your data analysts, your scouts, your recruitment team, all these guys are really going to earn their living. You know, that you pay them a lot of money, they need to deliver, and that's all there is to it. And so we'll see what happens. Ineos, it's up to Ineos now. You back them, you back any player that we sign, but it's Ineos have got to start getting it done. So Bach says we should have signed Mitrovic. Yeah, if Mitrovic were here when like Jose were still here, I think it would have been perfect. He's a Jose kind of striker through and through, like no questions asked. Jose did get Lukaku though, so funnily enough, Jose's favorite players seem to be Fellaini. So what are you gonna do? We're gonna move on to one that everyone's gonna know about. So this guy's young. Like super, super young. And I could have put him in my next video. Hint, hint. We are doing another video. I do have another video ready to go. Similar video, only that one will be strikers who are young. Ones that are kind of a couple years away from being class, but I think worth a gamble on right now. Come in and develop. So keep a lookout for that video. I could have included this next guy in that video, but he's already so good. He's been the main guy at the last couple clubs, and I'm forced talking about Samu. Plays for Porto. Obviously, he's just 21. He's had a kind of a breakout season, really. But the intelligence, the movement, the ability to position and read the situation and read the game that he's showing already as a 21-year-old is levels above where he should be. He's adaptable to different situations on the pitch, depending on the opposition, depending on what's going on. He can drop deep to hold up. He can just run off the shoulder. He knows what to do and when to do it. Very good in the air. Very, very strong player. 27 goals, 3 assists for Porto last season. He tied the league for his second top scorer. And he really took to the next level football like a duck to water, man. He's tall, powerful, good in the air, good movement. Hold the ball, exploit the space, like I said. He's just so good for someone so young. Look at this. Look at this heat map. This is insane. It's just straight up red. Just put it in the box, and Samu's going to do something with it, man. And I like that. He knows what he's about, and he's going to take care of business. Some of his numbers here, really good pass completion again, holding up the play, passing it off to a teammate. Good interceptions for a striker as well. Really good non-penalty goals for a striker. Top 6% as far as that's concerned. The kid is just going to be an absolute baller in a couple of years, man. So Villa have already made contact for Samu after their attacking situation was kind of took a bit of a hit last season, right? They were loaning in players. They lost John Duran. They could be selling Ollie Watkins. They do need to get on a handle on their finances as well. So I'm not sure what Villa could really struggle this season if they don't get their PSR situation figured out and they don't start selling a couple players. Problem is they're not that deep and they don't want to sell players. So it's going to be hard. They're going to be banking on one big sale, and they're probably going to be banking like using that to rebuild a little bit. But we'll see what happens because they have made contact for him. Barcelona scouted him. Newcastle apparently have him on their list in case Isaac leaves. He's got an 80 million release clause, but I have read that Porto could be open to a lower fee. Dude, if Porto are open to a lower fee than that, you could get him for similar to like a Gyokeres. Now it's going to come with its fair share of criticism. Look at what Ekitike is criticized for. Look at what the Horland fee is criticized for. Darwin Nunez, very similar. But I would take him over Ekitike any day of the week, and he would be cheaper than Ekitike. I think he's very better. So Dana says Obi, very similar. Yeah, just behind. Again, These are like if you're looking for somebody like now to come in. I think even though he's 21, he's younger than Højlund. I think he's better. And so Bach says, hopefully we don't give Villa any money. I'd give him money for Boubacar Kamara and Morgan Rogers in a heartbeat for sure. That's you definitely I do. But I would definitely take Samu over Ekitike if you're looking at young strikers who are full of potential. Definitely go Samu over Ekitike 9 times out of 10. So moving on. Let's look at Matteo Reggi. Now, some of you have mentioned him past. I watched him a lot when he was at Genoa, and he did have flashes of brilliance, but I wanted to see more from him. He was 24 years old at the time, and I wanted to see more than 9 goals, 3 assists in all comps. He definitely did step up, though, last season at Atalanta. He was 26 now, top scorer in Serie A, 25 goals. He had 28 goals and 9 assists in all comps, 25 goals in the league last season when it was all said and done. He's really leveled up in many ways. His reading of the game, his timing, his movement, his anticipation. He's showing this level, like levels above where he really should be for his career trajectory, if that makes sense. Thrives really well in a system, I think, where he can find the channels where he could exploit space and behind, which is exactly how we play. As strikers want to curl into the space off the sides of the defenders, get these balls in from wide areas. That's exactly how he plays. Reportedly, he's on Arsenal's list. Reportedly, we're interested in him as well. Villa is too. And you're also going to get the links with the typical, the PSGs, the Juventuses, et cetera, et cetera. They've all been linked as well. He actually received an offer from a Saudi side, Al Qasaya, worth about $15 million a year salary. I'm not sure what that translates to. And then Atalanta were offered like £55 million package, but they were holding out for a reportedly higher fee to get rid of him. He's only been there for a year. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, but he does represent that age, that profile of what we might be looking for. I do think that he could do really well. I wanted to see how he finished the season last year before I went a little hard, but suffice it to say, I have been watching him a lot. Let's look at some of his heat maps. So you see, again, a lot of touches out in the middle of the opposition half, a lot of touches in the box as well. So again, typical kind of striker, modern striker, dropping deep, getting in the box. Numbers look good. Sees a lot of the ball, top 6% for those touches in advanced areas. Looking at really good pass completion. Again, non-penalty goals, assists, shot creating actions, all very, very good for strikers at this level. I want to see if he keeps it going, but he's doing a really good job. So keep an eye on Reggi. I know a lot of you already have watched him a couple times. I think he's doing a really good job. So let me know what you guys think. I've got a couple more left here. Someone already mentioned this guy, and I've mentioned him several times in this channel because I really like him. Goncalo Ramos obviously plays for PSG. He's 24 now, so he's not super old. Really good presence in and around the box, really good link-up play, really good positioning. I like his movement. I like his work rate. He was one of my top targets for United when he was still at Benfica. And while I do think it was the wrong time for him to go to PSG, remember they still had Mbappe, they had Messi, Kolo Muani was there. Like, it just didn't make sense. I don't know why he did that. He really should have either waited another year or picked a different club at the time. But his numbers over the years have been good when you consider his limited minutes at PSG. So his last season at Benfica, which is a season I really liked him, with 27 goals and 5 assists in all competitions. Very, very good goal return. First season at PSG, limited minutes, 14 goals, 1 assist, and he had a big injury to start his PSG career as well. And then last season, again, limited minutes, 19 goals, 6 assists. So again, what I've said a couple times now is he may not get a lot of minutes, but when he's playing, he's scoring goals. And watching him play, you can tell he just wants to get involved. He just wants to play football. He shows good work rate. He pitches in off the ball. A lot of touches in and around the box. Like I said, he just lives in that box, wants to get involved. Good numbers. Now, again, you skew this a little bit because of the limited minutes. Limited minutes are going to make it look better, but they're still not bad. Good passing, good touches in the box. Again, tackles well above average for a striker. Goals, assists, all of it, very, very good. I think maybe a change of scenery and maybe a return to the main role as a striker instead of a rotation spot is exactly what he needs. Whether or not that's at United is going to be up for debate. But we have been linked. It's definitely far from the worst option out there as far as you can get him back to what he was at Benfica and clearly what he's shown when he gets minutes at PSG, I think you have a really good striker there. I think the Portuguese connection could work out well too. Other big Premier League clubs have also been reportedly watching him too. He could be available too, from what I've read. I got an itch on my leg. Sorry, y'all. For about 50 million, which is less than what PSG paid for him. So we could actually get him for probably even less than that. Big up, Gary. Good to see you again, my friend. Chat Sports said Ramos would be ideal. I really like Ramos a lot. I've liked him since he was Benfica. He wasn't bad at PSG. He scores when he plays. He gets goals and stuff when he plays. He's got limited minutes. It was just a bad career choice, in my opinion. He should have not have gone to PSG with the firepower they already had. And then the manager change, and then the new look they're trying to go for. I mean, writing's on the wall, but he could be available for, probably get him for less than 50 million, honestly. And I really like that a lot. Box says Ramos and Retegui, proven strikers we need. They're both very good. Goncalo Ramos, definitely one of my picks, though. So move on to my last striker on my list today, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing if you get a chance to. We are on the road to 3K, and I did promise you a giveaway if we get there before the first kick of the season. So keep that in mind. If we can do it, we're not that far away. We've got like almost a month left. I think we can dang it. So Gary says, honestly, I'm easy with most of the strikers we linked with, except for Jackson. The guy's an absolute scrub. Yeah, he's not. Gary, none of the guys that I've talked about today have been popping up in the news. Honestly, it's criminal too that they haven't. So we're getting to the last one though. So you're coming in late, better late than never, Gary. Always good to see you, my friend. So let's talk one more. Danny's going to perk up here in a second here. Santi Jimenez. Now this one's a bit of a pipe dream, I'll admit. I like this guy a lot. I scouted him when he and Pavitz, again, were in a race to be top scorer in the Eredivisie. This was several years ago. He's 24 now. Just moved to AC Milan in January. This is why it's going to be a hard one to get done. Excellent. He's like, Jimenez has got that classic striker, receive the ball, one touch to get it out of his feet, and then he shoots. It's simple one-touch finishing, and that's what I like from strikers. That's elite level striker technique. One touch, into space, shoot, boom. That's all you need. Robin van Persie does it. And it's like, that's what you need from a top striker. Good presence in the box, good hold-up play, really good with the ball at his feet as well. He trusts himself, he backs himself to take on defenders in 1v1s and create space for himself. Pretty much does it all. So now because he moved in January, I put up his heat maps from both seasons, or both clubs. So top map is from Feyenoord, bottom heat map is from Milan. You can see again, similar heat maps, touches in the box. A little more at Feyenoord. He was probably big fish, small pond there, so he's getting a little more involved. When he moved in January, he managed to get 6 goals, 3 assists in all comps in the new league, in the Serie A, which combined well with the 16 goals, 3 assists he had at Feyenoord up until January in the first half of last season. So again, all in all, 22 goals and 6 assists in all comps last season between two clubs. 26 goals, 8 assists in the 23-24 season, 23 goals, 2 assists in the 22-23 season. The guy is a very, very good striker, and he pretty much does it all. He scores all different types of goals, which is what you need from a striker. He finds space, or he dribbles into space to beat defenders and create the space for himself. Thrives in the box, presses defenders, etc., etc. We were linked, as were many other clubs, but Milan picked him up for really less than what he should have been worth at the time, if we're being honest. They picked him up for peanuts. Looking at some of his numbers again, getting involved in his own box with clearances, really good carries and take-ons for a striker. It's really good pass completion for building up and linking up play. Non-penalty goals, again, top 3%, which is really good. Assists, very good for a striker as well. It would take a big hefty fee and possibly a player in exchange to make anything happen for Santi Jimenez. Unlikely, I get it. Stranger things have happened. I mean, Milan did miss out on European football this year as well, so it's not maybe impossible to maybe appeal to their financial situation for missing out. Maybe you offer Rasmus Højlund in exchange with some cash to get this one done. Swap for swap. AC Milan were linked last week, if we remember correctly. Again, bit of a pipe dream, but this list is not necessarily about realism per se. It's more highlighting the quality of strikers that are out there right now, aside from Gyokeres and Osimhen, who seem to be everyone's kind of top 2 like top tier strikers. And I mean, it's with good reason. They're both elite, but there are other strikers out there who wouldn't cost a lot of money. Let me see what you guys are saying. Your box says, imagine us paying 75 million for Jackson, giving Chelsea some monies. We wouldn't, would we? We can sell them one of our hotels if we want to. So, Gary says Villa is Garnacho's level. I've said for several weeks now, Villa would fit Garnacho like a glove. The way they play, the position that he plays, they're in Europe-ish. So Danny says we could have got him for 17 million release clause this summer. We signed Haaland. Yeah, can you imagine? We could have had Santi Jimenez here, man, and been excellent. This guy is such a good striker. I like everything I see about him. Gary says, Evan Ferguson going to Roma on loan. That's random. Remember when Evan Ferguson was supposed to be the next 100 million striker? That injury, man. Injuries can derail. You guys have, if you've been following along as we've gone through my old scouting reports, you can see how many times injuries can really just completely derail someone's career trajectory. Like, I would say at least a third of those players I scouted picked up long-term injuries or started picking up injury issues immediately after I scouted them. So I'm not sure if I'm bad luck or not, but it's just, that's why you've not heard of some of them, because they're injured too much. So Samuel Mark Ingram, welcome back. United needs to look at signing Alexander Isak. Well, that's going to cost you a lot of money. Julian Alvarez, Rodrigo, you just want us to sign everybody. Big up Samuel. Lucky says Villa been linked to Alejandro. Well, we'll see what happens. I did see those links. I'm not sure who they were from, but he would be very cheap compared. I mean, not fee-wise, but wages-wise, he would be cheap compared to pretty much anybody else Villa could sign for that position. So, but when it comes to strikers, let me take Jimenez off the screen here now. How did I do? What was that? 10, 11 strikers. If you go back and look at the list here, hold on a second. I'll go back through them all real quick and relist them. So, Rocadere, Pavlidis, Amora, Promise David, Vladislav Vanat at Dynamo Kiev, Arnold Kalamwendo, Joel Piro, Samu at Porto, Matteo Reggi, Goncalo Ramos, and Santi Jimenez. A lot of strikers, a lot of really good age strikers, a lot of good quality strikers, and a lot of strikers who have several seasons of upward trajectory in double-digit goals or just a really good return over the last several seasons. Pavlidis specifically has literally scored like over 100 goals in the last 4 seasons combined. It's been elite level from the goal scoring from that guy. He'd probably be my top pick. Is there anyone in that list, though, that you think could be a really hidden gem, a really shrewd piece of business, a really underestimated addition to our attacking line? I mean, you guys let me know. What are you guys saying here? Box says, number 1, Goncalo Ramos. Number 2, Reggi. 3, Pavlidis. Yeah. If Pavlidis were like Brazilian or French or English or something, or Portuguese and not Greek, I think a lot more people would probably know. But I'm not trying to be offensive or anything to Greek. I just think that that's been a big issue. He's at Akmar doing his thing, went to Benfica, and literally he's still scoring buckets at Benfica, and no one's talking about him. He's like the one player, the one star at Benfica over the last 5-6 years that is doing well, and no one seems to be talking about. So it is what it is, though. You guys let me know who of these players you would take at United, who would be your priority, who would you maybe think could move the needle for us. Again, I didn't list some of the players that we've already been linked to because we've talked about them ad nauseum. These are just the ones that no one's talking about that I think could do it, if that makes sense. It does take a lot of time to do these scouting videos, you guys. You can see I got to do these. It's like tedious, right? It's like every one of those screens I got to go through and do. I got to find photos. I got to put the stats and stuff. It takes a minute to do these scouting videos, but I do enjoy it. As you know, I'm a bit of a scouting nerd. And more importantly, I always look forward to getting your thoughts and your reactions on the players that I scout. That's really why I do what I do, you guys. So, yeah, he's not the fashionable name. If it were like Pavlidinho or something, and he was playing in like Portugal or something, it would be totally different. But he's not. But it is what it is. You know, this is what I said for many years for people who didn't quite watch like the Belgian league or the Eredivisie or anything like that, or even like South American football until recently. You're missing out. You are missing out because there are some hidden gems. There are some like under the radar players throughout world football that they blow up, and then everyone's like, "Who is this person?" And we're like, "I told you who he was 2 years ago." So Gary says, I'm leaning towards Premier League proven strikers, Watkins. Yeah, I like Watkins. The last time I saw a price from him, it was like almost 60 million, and I'm not paying 60 million for a 29-year-old Ollie Watkins. It's one thing if it's a Robin Van Persie 29-year-old who literally won us the league the following year, but Watkins is not Robin Van Persie. And so I think that if you could drop that fee down by like half, awesome. I'll take it for a couple of years. I have no problem with that. But like he says, as Sean has retagged you, everybody's been linked to everybody, man. He's reportedly on our list. But again, everybody's linked. So it's hard to say how strong those are. So Bach says, any really random punts you can think of? I mean, pretty much all the ones that I've listed are pretty random punts, to be honest with you, in terms of just wait until I do my next video. So I've got this video, which was more like the guys who literally could start and lead the line on a weekly basis striker video. I got another one prepared for young strikers, young, teens, early 20s who would come in and kind of be a rotation option. I've got a batch of young strikers from all over the place that I'm just like this video. We'll do a video on young strikers as well. And so keep a lookout for that one. I've got another batch of my old scouting reports coming up, and obviously we'll be back tomorrow with a news roundup. There hasn't been a whole lot of news today. There's been some stuff, but we can save it for tomorrow because it's just like Rashford in Barcelona or Embuemo's at Carrington kind of stuff. So I'm sure you guys have all seen that anyway. But nothing new today in terms of news. I think tomorrow we'll get some official announcements in terms of Embuemo, who is rocking a 19. If you guys saw that photo in the training shirt, he is rocking the 19 on there. And then Rashford will probably get announced as well. I think both Barcelona and us want these guys ready to go for the next preseason friendly, so which is right around the corner. So Gary says, Jamie Vardy, Sean, you know it makes sense. If Ed Woodward were still here, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked at all to see it happen, if I'm honest, Gary. I think that's got a Woodward to think of all over it. Bach says, Sorloth and Schick too old. No, I think Schick is fine. I like some of those guys. Goodmanson I really like as well. Who's the other one now? Dovbyk I really like too. There are plenty of strikers out there randomly that I've been watching for a while. These are just the ones that, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the sample size over the couple seasons, the ones that are flying under the radar that I think are just ready to go. So keep that in mind. There are a couple more, like there was Denke, who was at Circle Brugge, who I think now is in MLS. So I think that he would have been one like last summer. I would have maybe punted on. There are a couple of youngsters that were playing. There's one at Salzburg that we'll talk about in the next video. There was one that was at Antwerp, Eleni Kenna, who has since left Antwerp, but I think he's injured. So I don't think he's really playing a whole lot these days. So there are a lot of strikers out there, you guys. And that's the point of today's video. It's not just about Gyokeres and Osimhen and all these guys, these Ekitikes and whatnot. There are plenty of strikers out there. If you just look around a little bit, watch some different leagues, look at FootMob, check some stats, check some league leaders, who's topping the goal scoring charts and whatnot. How many years have they been pitching in goals like that? That's why it's doing. Gary says, what happened to that big Russian guy that played for Girona? Dovbyk. Yeah, that's the guy I was talking about. I think he went, somebody remind me where that guy went. Is he in Serie A someplace now? I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't remember now. I kind of lose track of some of these players. I'll look him up real quick. Artem Dovbyk. He's Ukrainian. He is at Roma. Yeah, he's at Roma now, but he would have been one that I looked at as well. What's his face? Schmadix, I think, was at Blackburn. He was another one I was looking at a little while ago as well. ITN, big up. What about the man? What about the hierarchy? But you stuck on nonsense. I'm not sure where you're getting at. We have talked plenty about Amorim. We've talked plenty about Ineos and whatnot. So today was about scouting strikers who are flying under the radar while everyone's whining about Gyokeres and Osimhen going elsewhere. So showing you today there are plenty of strikers out there. But let me know what you think, who you think you would take out of the ones I've talked today. Was there somebody that I didn't mention that you think I should? Let me know. If you weren't able to catch the live, leave a thought in the comment, you guys. Until next time, make sure you're liking the video. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Check the memberships as well. Check out all those items in the UVE store, including the new Embuemo shirt, Mboom. Go check that one out as well. Be sure to come back tomorrow. We will be here with a Man United's news roundup, hopefully talking about all sorts of stuff. So until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for checking out the Strikers, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.